Bayside Live, coming to you from the Bayside Historic Society's art show. We have Neil Slaughter with us. Neil is one of the judges. Neil, the awards were great, and thank you so much for helping educate everyone. Tell us about this painting won the Best Painting Award.
Yes.
And Neil, tell us first about yourself and how you qualify. How does someone qualify to be a judge?
Well, I have been, I guess sometimes it's age and gray hair. I've been a university professor for over 40 years, and I lived in England for 3 years. I lived in California for a decade, but I've lived 25 years in Southampton, and I taught for Long Island University. And so I also had grants. I had a Fulbright fellowship to India. I had a grant to Africa. I had another grant to China. Anyway, and a grant to Scotland, which is sort of where my heritage comes from, and England. So I guess it's just all of that experience. I guess that's truly what it's about. It's experience.
You know Town Point out in Southampton?
I do know Town Point.
Yeah, I got a little secret spot there. So anyway, so that's fun. We're neighbors out there. So first, let's go back to this painting. This is a beautiful snowy street scene, and I love it. Tell us about the painting and why it won first prize.
Yeah, this painting, we had 6 different categories. So this won the Best Painting Award, not to be the best for the entire show, because there was a Best Watercolor, Best Photography, etc. But in this particular case, the other juror, my colleague Dan Christoffel, he and I particularly enjoyed the spontaneity, the sense, even though it's a static scene, the cars are all parked, there's nobody walking, there's no sense of movement, and yet there is movement. There's a liveliness about this painting. There's a vigorous brushwork that's going on in this particular painting, which I think is paramount to its success, as well as this artist knows how to not get hung up on what we call local color. That is, red buildings, blue car, blue sky, and then what's snow? Snow is, it changes depending upon the light and the shadows, whether it's cool or warm light. Well, this artist was very successful at integrating the colors. So some of the colors in the trees or in the background, like in the buildings, you'll find some cool tones in the largely warm areas, and likewise you'll find warm colors in the largely cool zones, and including the lavender, purple tones in the sky, in here, these little bits of yellow, which indicate sunlight hitting on that snow, versus, of course, the blue tones, which are the shadows.
The movement, what you mentioned, you're absolutely right. You feel like you're walking into it. I can almost hear the crunch of the snow beneath my feet, right in the middle of these tracks.
Exactly.
You're really in the painting, and even though you look at the brushstrokes and you see it's a painting, but you feel like you're in it.
Well, I think what happens in a painting like this, which we don't know, maybe he did it from a photograph, but he could have done it in what we call en plein air, which is that French term for painting on location. Now, standing in the middle of the street, I don't know, but what he's done is he's captured the urgency through that rapid kind of broken brushwork. He's captured the urgency as if he were on location. Whether he was or not, I don't know. But there's that sense of freshness, that energetic brushwork, which conveys that sense of movement that you and I both just saw.
I can see why it won, and thank you for the knowledge of the criteria that went into judging it. Tell us about some of the other award winners and what you kind of saw and
sure.
remember.
Well, there was an award winner of a canoe, and we picked that one because the way the canoe, it's a red canoe jutting out into the water, and although it's a representational painting, there are some interesting abstractions that are going on, especially in that the connection between the foliage, the sky, the water, and the canoe has to do with the interior of the canoe. There are these dappled shadow patterns that fall into the canoe, which are in and of themselves abstract, and they are determined by the light coming through the foliage, which makes this or creates this abstract pattern that falls into the canoe, thereby connecting the two, coupled with the blue sky is pushing or putting on top of the seat and the bars inside the canoe this kind of coolish blue-gray tone, which of course is being the reflection of the sky coming down. So it connects sky, foliage, and everything is connected with those abstract patterns that are created inside the canoe.
Maybe we'll go and see some other pieces together.
Yeah, I'd be happy to walk around and look at anything you want to look at. Or
come with us.
Go to a couple of the other
Great.
award winners.
Let's go.